do in your room when you're all alone? 3, 4, you want mom or whatever cure that was. 5, 6, finding bliss when you're drunk or you're doing drugs. When you're drunk, when you're drunk, when you're drunk, when you're drunk, when you're drunk or you're doing drugs. 7, 8, feeling brave but you never really play this game. 9, 10, feels like heaven, you're crying cause you wanna stay. Quick fix, finding bliss when you feel the heartbeat inside. When you're drunk, when you're drunk, when you're drunk, when you're drunk, when you're drunk. Do you believe in magic? Do you believe in magic? When you're drunk, 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 when you're drunk. Me too, I'm just like you and I need to fuck it up sometime. I'm stuck with ego trips and sex to a lovable bar. Sometimes after magic, then I manage to fuck up somehow. Get drunk, get drunk, get drunk, get drunk, and I'm getting high. Do you believe in magic? Do you believe in magic? One, two, the things you do in your room when you're all alone. In your room when you're all alone. 3, 4, you want mom or whatever cure that was. Or whatever cure that was. 5, 6, finding bliss when you're drunk or you're doing drugs. When you're drunk, 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 when you're drunk. Do you don't believe in magic?
Ibland känner jag magin, men jag lyckas ändå fucka upp.
Me too, I'm just like you and I need to fuck it up sometime. I'm stuck with ego trips and sex to a lovable bar. Sometimes after magic, then I manage to fuck up somehow. Get drunk, get drunk, get drunk, get drunk. Do you believe in magic? Do you believe in magic? Do you believe in magic? me feeling like a firebolt high in the sky, looking like a thunderstorm. Boy, here we go, 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 go. You're easy to remember, so hard to forget. Baby, it's a coward way you strut. How could I not worship every inch your feet have touched? Baby, run away with me. You kill it lonely. You make my eyes unsee. All the crazy. You make my heart believe there's only one of you, baby. Run away with me. Don't leave me lonely. You make my eyes unsee. All the crazy. You make my heart believe. There's no more clouds on the freeway. Now tell me you'll stay. Gonna now and last someday. Here we go, go, go. Rose bed, fancy hotels, girl, you know. Baby, run away with me. You kill it lonely. You make my eyes unsee. All the crazy. You make my heart believe there's only one of you, baby. Run away with me. Don't leave me lonely. You make my eyes unsee. All the crazy. You make my heart believe.
the beginning of the end and the start of a new beginning. Time has come to redefine yourself and let go of the demons in your head that have held you in captivity for so long. It's time to flip the page and prove them wrong. It's time for rebirth. Yeah, time's up to say goodbye to all the haters, doubters, and non-believers trying to bring you down. In the blink of an eye, you'll realize that there's so much more to the book than the page you were stuck on. Finally, you will feel free to live a life you love living instead of the life you think other people want you to live. Remember, you're the highest authority when it comes to knowing what you want and what you love. So stop trading yourself for the approval from others. Ladies and gentlemen, weirdos and geeks, please repeat after me. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a I don't give a fuck. 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 It's time to start doing the right thing. So trust your instincts, stop listening to others, and own your decisions. People will always tell you what to do, opinions how to live. So let's create space for what matters most to you. You'll be glad you did. Now start reclaiming your time and your mental well-being by saying no more. No more. Say it loudly and proudly. In other words, fuck you. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck.
Targets acquired.
Eagle 1, first strike, you have permission to engage the target.
Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to the show. Feels like third night in a row. We did last night with Scott, Fabian Liberty. He was awesome. Absolutely just ridiculously cool. And it was great. It's going to be a good show. And there's going to be a lot of really good stuff happening tonight. I think. Obviously, the word of the day, guys, is Ukraine and Zelensky. What a fucking idiot that guy is! Walking into a room with Donald Trump, asking for stuff, and then acting like the man owes you. Like, what kind of dumb shit is this? It's unbelievable, guys. I mean, just unfucking believable. I can't. We're going to get into it, but God Almighty, It's crazy. I was just over on Rob Noor's channel, and dude, these guys they're off the rails. They're off the rails. All right, so if you could, I've been yeah, I know 3 nights, man. Guys, I've actually been hanging out over at Rob's too much, so I didn't actually. I've only spammed my link in a couple of places. If you could, if it's not too much trouble, span it wherever you're allowed to. And I'm going to spam it in a few chats too. And he did actually do that, Anson, even though you were sniping at him all night. And let's see who's in the house tonight. I know the crowd's going to be low tonight. I know Andrew's live, and I know everybody's over there hanging out. Obviously, we got Anson Knowles in the house. We have Bill Hicks. Bill Hicks, good to see you. 13 is in the house. Tacticus 1979, good to see you. Imperious in the house. Yeah, dude. John Smith. Yeah, that meeting was that was great. I mean, it was very funny. Very, very funny. K2 Keep On Trucking is all up in here. Mikey Balls is in the house. Good to see you, sir. Good to see you. Mr. Mister in the house. Absolutely. You were over there watching the same thing I was, Mr. Mister, and it was insanity. It was crazy. What that guy, the last guy, that Scratch or whatever, man, he was just off the fucking rails. All right. Good to see everybody that's out in the chat, man. You guys have been lighting it up in here. You got a lot of conversation going on. K2, man. Good to see you, sir. Good to see you. John Mosman in the house. Maybe I'll get Mosman to come up. I hadn't seen him in a while. I'll get him a link here in a minute. As a matter of fact, let me do that now. Let me grab that link. I'm going to throw that first in the mod chat. So that the mods will have that, so they can, if we need to bring somebody else up, they can do that. And then I'm gonna throw it out to John Mosman, man. Ghost 1978, good to see you, man. Good to see you out there. You guys came in clutch last night. I got to be honest with you. I was out there in the wild talking to my friend Fabian Liberty, and man, what a great conversation that was last night. I really had a good time with it. If you didn't watch it, if you didn't see it live, you should watch it. It's really good. Ghost 1978, that's kind of what I feel like he said. He was a little nicer about it, but it is what it is, man. All right, Mosman, you've got the link, sir, if you'd like to come up. If not, that's cool too, bro. It's cool. No pressure. No pressure. But yeah, it's been a good time. Long day for me today. I'm actually really tired. I actually considered canceling the show, and I may end early. I've had a long day. Absolutely racked out. So apologies if I seem a little less enthusiastic tonight. It certainly is not meant to be that way. Yeah, so almost as good as watching Trump and it's not a headache, man. I had to I'm hydrated. The problem is actually I was lifting a bunch of heavy objects today, and I didn't really strain my back, but got a little pain in the back right now. And the bigger issue is just I didn't sleep well last night, and I'm just tired. I was up, not late, but I don't. Thursday night's usually an early night for me, so we'll see. We'll make it, man. I can tough it out. You guys don't know I'm pretty tough, So, but yeah, hydration. I'm pretty hydrated, but almost as good as Vance and Zelensky and Trump kind of coming out and going at each other. Almost as good as that was Carolyn Levitt and Carolyn Levitt going after everybody in that press conference. Man, it was lit. It was great. I got to tell you, man, the more I see of that Carolyn Levitt, I'm telling you that woman she's all right. How are you, John Mosman? I see you there.
How's it going?
How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. Doing good. All things considered. I got a kick out of watching Zelensky put his foot in his mouth.
What an idiot, right? Like,
I know.
what's funny is that I was just over on Rob North stream, and there was a guy arguing that, well, now Europe's going to give them the money. And Europe ain't going to give them shit. We send money to Europe.
Yeah.
We send money to Europe.
Yeah.
Like, where are they getting any money?
Like, and I felt like it was also one of those things too, Grid, where we've had that conversation, I think, with Teriak about like if we don't do something, like no one else will do anything. And
yeah.
And that's actually what Zelensky said. He said, hey, if you guys, they're ready, but you guys got to be the ones that do it.
Right.
And then he's like, well, you're going to feel it over on your side of the ocean. And it's like, and I love how Trump's like, no, don't think so. You don't know that. Don't do that. You know,
it was great, right?
It's just like, you know, and JD Vance, man, that guy's a bulldog. I love
JD Vance. He kind of surprised me, right? Because up until now, Vance has been, now obviously he's pointed, he's very purposeful in his speaking, but he hasn't really been aggressive.
Right.
He's surprised. I got to be honest.
Yeah.
Vance came after him and put it down on the table.
Yeah.
But did you see the press conference with Carolyn Levitt?
Yes,
afterwards?
I saw part of that. Yeah,
that was lit, man. I'm telling you, she likes those guys because they're trying to frame this, right? Like all these reporters are trying to like frame this to put Trump in the worst light possible. And Levitt is having none of it. She's like, no, that's not. No, that's not. It was just great, man. It's a refreshing breeze, if you will, of reality, right? Like this is great. I mean, I can't tell you, man. It's so awesome. Imperious, do you know first of all, I can't bang Carolyn Levitt. First of all, I'm married, she's married, that doesn't happen. But Imperious, come on, you would 100%. You and Carolyn Levitt would be like, Carolyn Levitt's exactly your speed.
Yeah.
The entire idea of Europe saving the Ukraine is ludicrous. The only reason they have their socialist utopian fucking medical system and alms for the poor and free housing and shit is because we pay for it. And not only do we pay for it, they don't have to spend any money on defense because we are their defense. We are literally we're the security guard. They just don't pay us. We're the free security guard.
Right.
It's crazy, the idea.
Well, and that's why when England was doing things through NATO, they were getting away with it in part because the United States backs the check, right? They back the check of what NATO does. So
and
the
I've
whole
been saying
reason
this
why
for
anybody respects NATO isn't because Poland's a part of NATO. It isn't because of England being a part of it. It's because the United States built that thing and is
that's
part of that.
100%. It's actually really crazy when you think about it because, you know, the very idea, I mean, and so I've been saying this for a while now, right? Mm-hmm. Like I've been saying for a while that if you really look at it, there's no way at all that the Ukraine, first of all, Ukraine can't pay its own bills.
Right.
Germany can't pay it. Yeah. France can't pay it. Literally, the only European nation that might be able to pick up a portion of the tab is like fucking Finland.
Right.
And they're not gonna. Like, they have no dog in this. They don't give a fuck.
Right. Well, and,
So-
and the thing of it is I think Zelensky is a victim of his own of his own headspace that the American media has helped him craft in this idea of like it was bold what he did, showing those pictures, and basically what he was doing was he was using this moment to try to up one Trump, and that was not going to work, you know, and you know, I think, you know, for all the things that people might accuse Trump of doing or saying, I thought he was really reserved. And the fact
oh,
that
absolutely.
he was more
Absolutely.
laid back and JD was like, how dare you come in here and do this? Like,
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like usually it's Trump being kind of that
Yeah.
harsh negotiator, and Trump
Yeah.
this time was like, "Nah, I don't think so.
Yeah. He
I
was
don't
like,
really see that working out for
yeah,
you."
he was giving him like, he's like, you know, yeah, well, we'll see, you know, and he was trying to play it easy because I think he realizes that one, that no matter, you know, he has to probably have some amount of tact with this situation because people are going to try to make him responsible for whatever happens.
No, Imperius is right. First of all, welcome EOD 696. Good to see you. I saw you over at Rob's. I couldn't wait any longer to jump up and talk about this. I just really wanted to point out that the there is no European defense system.
Yeah.
There isn't. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
It's us. There's no German army, no French army. Doesn't exist. England, kinda, but they're an island. How many people do they really have? It's not that many.
Right.
And most of those are Muslim now. So
Yeah.
anyway, so actually, Imperius is right. This was grooming for JD. Absolutely.
Yeah,
See, this is what I don't think I don't think people realize this. Trump isn't going to run again.
No, this is the only this is the
Vance
last time.
probably is. And
Yes.
and what Trump needs is for Vance to look presidential in these, and he did. He looked presidential.
Yes.
I was like, is that Teddy? Is that Teddy Roosevelt?
I know.
Are we
Yeah.
going to war? Are we going to war? Are we going to war, Teddy?
I felt like with JD Vance, it was kind of like that moment when, like in Air Force One, when Harrison Ford says, "Get off my plane."
Get off my plane! Yeah,
You know?
that's fucking awesome. Yeah, no, you're right.
Like,
You're right.
Like that had that charisma, and that just I was just. But to me, to think that Zelensky would think that this would work, either someone is telling him something that is obviously not true, or he just he's just buying his own product or whatever he is selling about himself. And the reality is, like, and I love the question that the one journalist said. He said, why aren't you wearing a suit? You know,
I got to be honest with you. To me, it really looked like Zelensky did not take this shit seriously.
right? He was expecting just to come over.
I don't think he was expecting to go to the White House. You ask why he was dressed that way? I think he expected to be like every other time. Oh, John's gone. There he is. He's back. He's back. He's bad. He's mad. All right. I think Zelensky was thinking this was like every other trip that he's taken to the White House, because, well, he never got to go to the White House before. He'd go to he'd go appear before Congress, or he would go to somebody's office. They'd cut him a check. He'd go home. Right. I don't think he was prepared for what happened.
Yeah. No, he wasn't. You can tell he wasn't.
And, then I don't think he realizes that the backroom deals are over, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like Doge is on call. Doge has got this.
If you're not going to basically do what the politics demands you to do, which is to do the glad handing, in front of the media and say, yes, we're eager to work with the president and tell him that we'll help him and we'll strive to have peace and do all the talking points. And then in the back say, hey, look. But see, what he tried to do in this moment is he tried to leverage the United States media against Trump, because he saw that this has happened. And this is part of where, like, people think that Trump is becoming like a fascist when he says about like the media coming after. But like, this is kind of, and you know me, I am no authoritarian whatsoever, but this just demonstrates what happens when you allow an American press corps to completely disregard the respect that is due a person that is the president of the United States, just because you don't like him or you don't like his politics. And I mean, and I think he thought he could get away with it, and I don't know what the hell he was smoking, because
Well, again, I think that in his past trips, they've just met him at his house in Miami with a check, and or a file. He signs his name a couple of times, and he goes back over. It's no big deal. I don't recall. Can somebody correct me? Has Zelensky ever actually been to the White House on any of his trips over here?
I don't know. I know he spoke before Congress once.
He did speak before Congress. He wore a suit.
Yeah.
I just don't think.
But I will wear a suit after this war, and it will be more than just a mere costume. It'll be better than yours. I was like, wow.
I don't know. I think Zelensky's in over his head. I think it was.
Oh yeah, and then when he just basically, I think he, in a lot of ways, what he said about it coming over on this side of the coast, like that could come off as a threat. You're going to feel it on your side. Like, what are you going to do? Like, and that's why I think JD is like, we're trying to help you. Why are you biting the hand that has fed you? Obviously, this administration isn't going to just, let Grandpa Biden, sniff little girl's hair and eat ice cream and just write you blank checks. You're going to actually have to prove.
This is what the future looks like under Doge.
Yeah.
Is that every I has to be dotted, every T crossed. We're not, so you don't understand. You know what?
We do this already in a lot of forms of our government when it comes to domestic issues. So the fact that we wouldn't do this for foreign issues blows my mind.
So you understand that one of the things that the Ukraine's really in trouble with right now is that Doge has started auditing all of these slush funds.
Yeah.
And what they're finding is that in theory, or what's recorded is that the U.S. has sent roughly $250 billion to the Ukraine in cash equivalents, letters of credit, whatever.
Right.
And roughly 100. Well, it depends on whose numbers you believe. Mr. has shown me numbers of about another 250,000 in war material. The biggest number I could find was 180 billion in war material.
Yeah.
Billion. So $500 billion roughly.
Right.
Ukraine is now saying they only got 100 billion in cash, roughly, and they didn't get anywhere near that in war material. And where did it all go?
Which means one of two things: either someone on their end pocketed the money, or someone on our end pocketed the money.
And now I think what Doge is finding is that the money that was supposed to go to Ukraine, some of it went to Ukraine, but some of it flowed backwards back into the military-industrial complex, whatever you want to call that. Various congressmen, committee members, and all of these people.
And
all
people
of
want to know where
bureaucrats.
Black market slush fund, where Black Ops slush funds come from.
Sure, yeah. Well, USAID. That's where most of the Black Ops slush funds came from. Yeah. So when they talk about this thing with, and I think the Ukraine's got very nervous when Doge started pulling all of this stuff out of all the rabbits out of the hat, because it's, I mean, somebody's going to have to account for that money. And if it shows that $250 billion went to the Ukraine and they're coming asking for another, $100 billion or $1 trillion, or whatever the fuck they think it's going to take to win the war, that's going to be That's be nuts.
Yep.
Billion Imperious, billion with a B, not a million with an M, but a billion with a B.
Big.
And so it's going to be very interesting going forward. That's right, Mr. Mister. There is no liaison officer that, as an auditor, to Ukraine. Normally, when we get, and like this happens every year we give aid to England, France, Germany, Greece, and a bunch of other fucking Euro trash countries just for the fuck of it, just because we're nice people. We take dollars and cents out of your pocket. I assume you pay taxes. The American taxpayer gives our money to the government. Our government takes that, writes a letter of credit against it, and hands that off to European trash countries. And for no reason, just, whatever. And
just whatever.
Yeah, but usually there's an auditor in place that at least most of the money gets there. Right. Now, once it gets there, there's no accounting for it. Right. But at least most of it. But in Ukraine, none of that's happened. So Ukraine could honestly be correct that they've only gotten 100 or 120 or
that's
whatever the fuck the number is.
We don't know where. This is why.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows. But Doge is going to find out. See, that's the thing. Yeah. That's the thing. Yeah. Yes, Anson Knowles is correct. Rand Paul did make a big stink about having an inspector general follow the Ukraine slush fund, and the Republicans in Congress stopped it. That's very interesting. A lot of rhinos these days. We got to stop that nonsense. We got to get back to proper conservatism. And but yeah, it's. I mean, obviously, I didn't intend to make this show today all about Ukraine, but boy, did Zelensky deliver. By the way, I personally think Zelensky is a puppet dictator. I understand that people say that he's not a puppet dictator, and I can even understand why you would say that he's not. But he did shut down a fucking church. Not just any church, not some church in the country that you could reasonably say, they're spies and they're using the disguise of a church to commit acts of nefarious nature. No, that's not what they did. What they shut down. They shut down at least the second largest and possibly the largest church in the Ukraine.
Yeah,
Ukrainian Orthodox Church.
Yep. And it's sad because there was a lot of people who were like, because I remember when the Ukraine thing first started happening, people like, because there's we've the church I belong to, the Lutheran Church, we have like both a Ukrainian and Russian. In fact, I know a guy who was at our Ukrainian seminary, Lutheran seminary, but like a lot of people don't realize the Ukrainians went to war against the Christian Orthodox Church in Ukraine. And I'll be honest with you, especially when you're thinking about like certain areas, like, that have historically belonged to Russia, like a lot of people are like, well, this was our place. And I'm just like, there's a lot of people who don't feel like they are part of this Ukrainian government,
Sure.
And therefore, and that's what like JD called him out on today, was like, you guys are having to force people.
Correct.
You're having to force people to come onto the front lines. You guys don't have this infrastructure. You're going to lose.
Well, they don't have a sense of nationality right now because they've really abused their citizens.
Well, and because their government's a puppet government for foreign entities and has been for a long time, long before Russia invaded in 2014.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an interesting thing though, because Zelensky didn't give him the big guy cut. That's probably true. They took that off the top, actually. Yeah, that's right. Doge. What do you think about Doge, John? What do you think about that?
I think that It's a good thing. It could be abused, but again, I believe that there needs to be an accountability. And it's just kind of like we've had this policy in a lot of different branches of government where we just appoint people within a branch or a division to look into their own affairs and think, oh, they'll have no conflict of interests when that's clearly not the case, right? So, for me, like I've always, especially when it comes to, you think about some of the police abuse issues in some of the cities out there, I think having people as part of a board that reviews police events that are part of the community, that's a good thing. I think having more accountability and more transparency is more of a better thing than it is a worse thing. And we saw, I think, especially in a very frustrating sense, especially during the Biden administration, what happened when we tried to ask the FBI director, when we tried to ask Department of Homeland director, when we tried to ask people who were in these boards and in the top of these agencies to give us the reasons why they did, and they would always, well, we've got an investigation. Oh, we've got, and it's like, oh, that's their go-to stock answer for, we're not going to tell you. And, if you ever want to be in the way it used to be, if you ever wanted to be high up in the FBI or anything like that, you don't rock the cradle. Well, now that cradle's rocked, and I don't know if you saw, I guess they're trying to make, I don't know if it's true or not, but make also the FBI director the ATF chief as well. Did you see that? Patel?
Yeah, I think it's interesting what's going on with the FBI, ATF, and all of that.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting. The obviously the last set of bureaucrats were horrible. What do you think about all the firings, John? Have you been following that at all?
Some of them, not all of them. Not the details like some have. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't been following the details, but it's crazy, some of the stuff. And and one of the interesting things is Trump is firing people and then hiring them back in different capacities, and different. I'm sure at different levels. It's very interesting from my point of view. So it would be it's unfortunate that I haven't really paid a lot more attention to the firings, but honestly, Doge is moving so fast. Like this administration is moving so fast.
I look like Babe Ruth.
Yeah, it's funny.
I think that's people just have a nice way of saying I look fat.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's interesting. And K2 actually, he has he's a solid point on this. Government workers don't give two shits when the decisions they make result in people like you and I getting fired or laid off or whatever. They couldn't care, but threaten a government employee's job.
Right. And
it's like, wow, you horrible human, you.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I personally do think Anson Knowles, and I do personally think that and this is what I'm hoping. What I'm hoping is that mandatory audits of all congressmen are required, House and Senate.
No.
Go back 5 years. Go back to the last election and just look. I think you'd see a lot of congressmen resigning their positions.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it's like, what's his name? Who's the guy in the Senate who's pushing for the stock? Was that I don't know if it's Tom Cotton, it's the other guy from Florida.
Pushing for what?
The Congress people to not be able to trade in stock. Try to remember.
Well, there are a couple of them. Rand Paul's been doing that for years.
But there's like one of the newer relatives.
Somebody on Mr. or somebody will know.
Yeah.
Let me read what Kevin wrote here. My thing is, what impact are all these government firings going to have on the job market and the economy? All those people are going to be out there looking for work now, some taking low end work. That's it. Gertz. That's who it was. Matthew Gertz. Gertz. What it Gertz.
Yeah. Garrett.
So to answer your question, Kevin, that's a great question. The thing is that I don't know how many of them will take low end jobs because government work pays pretty well. The people that are getting fired, they're not firing the mailman that makes
Gates is in the Congress, not Senate. I'm thinking of the Senate.
Yeah, they're not firing congressmen. They're firing people that are just that basically don't know anything. But yeah, I mean, I'm okay with. I mean, it's an interesting question. On the one hand, I'm really okay with it because I think that people getting fired is just natural. Like it's no different than if a company goes out of business and lays off 200 people, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, not sure how great the mid-range job market is. Yeah, no, you're right. It's a good question. It's a great question, actually. The problem is that I don't think they'll form a union nonprofit. Yeah, it could be. They'll hire Imperius to represent them. That's what they'll do. And then Imperius won't get paid, and then that'll be the end of that. Yeah, what the New York governor said she will hire all the ones that got fired. Yeah, okay. Yeah, they can split between New York and California. That'll be great. Get all of the most inefficient people and put them in one place.
I'm trying to think of what it's Hawley. Josh Hawley. That's the guy I'm thinking of.
Josh Hawley?
Yeah, he's in the Senate.
Hawley. Is it? Are you talking about? It's Hawley, right? Hawley.
Yeah, Hawley. Yeah. And he's the one that's always like railing against, like, where he said, I know a lot of people don't like this idea, including people on my side of the aisle.
Right. Well, I mean,
so him and Hawley and like Cotton, I love those guys. Those guys are like great assault of the earth type of people,
Well, the interesting thing is that it's so it was Congress that it was Congress that instituted the SEC to control businessmen from doing what they do.
Right.
And so it's literally crazy.
Yeah.
Smoking Spaceman says they're trying to fix California. Good luck with that, pal. Good luck with that.
Good luck.
Oh man, that's great. That's great.
Yeah. I knew I was going to, but I just looked up Republican against our Congress trading or whatever, and I knew I'd find it.
Stock trading.
Yes. Yeah. I like Hawley though. He's really good. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I personally, I'm hoping that they can get term limits through. I'm hoping they can get a lot of stuff, kind of put into place. I should probably get Mikey Balls up here because he did the news earlier today before all of this happened, and now I'm sure he really wants to talk about all this.
Yeah.
But
by the way, you hear about Gene Hackman dying and his wife?
Yeah. Now they're ruling that as suspicious circumstances. Yeah,
for sure.
How did they not start with that? Because I mean, it was all three of them in the house dead. And they were like, well, it's carbon monoxide poisoning in your house.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe if they had wood, I mean, we're in California, so we know they didn't have wood heat.
Yeah.
They didn't have an actual fireplace. Maybe their natural gas fireplace got clogged or some crap.
Yeah.
Their electrical car was messed up.
But I was thinking about his best movie.
They were in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Yeah. Oh, that could be that. It could be. Like their chimney was clogged or something, and that'd do it.
What do you think is his most iconic movie?
Gene Hackman.
Yeah,
Ooh.
yeah. So to me, I think the top three for me would be Hoosiers,
Oh.
French Connection, and Crimson Tide. You know,
Crimson Tide, Unforgiven.
Unforgiven's good too. Yeah, and of course, my wife would say Mississippi Burning, of course, and because he was really good in that one as well. But I don't know.
There's another one I can't.
I don't know if he's memorable like he is like in Crimson Tide or Hoosiers. Or
Bat 21. Actually, you know what, Tacticus? I agree. Bat 21, Unforgiven, and Crimson Tide.
Yeah. Crimson Tide, especially because he had the little dog that he had on the leash. And
well, he just plays in a half. He plays that character perfectly of the button-down officer that is, you know.
You don't know if he's losing his mind or if he's right.
You kind of feel like he's losing his mind.
No, that's the way the character has to come across because
Enemy of the State was great.
Yeah, Enemy of the State was good. Yep. Yeah. Him to get reconnected with Denzel Washington was good in that. I also love him in Royal Tenenbaums, but I'm also a huge Wes Anderson film fan. So, I don't know if you ever saw that one.
He had a long career. I didn't realize he retired in like early 2000.
Yeah, he retired. Yeah.
I didn't realize he was 95 either.
So when I go to like something like Fandango and they have like trending movies, they had like Superman, Crimson Tide, Hoosiers. And then, of course, that other actress, Michelle Trachtenberg, who was only 39 and died of cirrhosis of the liver.
Oh.
Alcohol
get you, man, one way or the other.
Well, I don't know. Well, they don't know. We don't know exactly if it's alcohol or if it's hepatitis. But the other thing that my doctor was telling me just the other day is the number one thing of causing cirrhosis nowadays. It used to be alcoholism, but now it's fatty liver disease, which obviously fatty liver disease is the number one cause, which is usually
what is fatty liver disease?
It's where you're basically your liver creates fatty livers. It's where your liver starts creating these fatty livers, and it's because your body's producing too much sugar. That's why cirrhosis, your liver goes into cirrhosis. That's why the alcoholism was so bad, because it was putting so much sugar in your body. But when we're realizing that diabetes is such a huge epidemic on people that yeah. So.
Lindsay Smith, we were actually just talking about that. You're welcome to come up and we'll chat some more about it. We'll be glad to tread that ground again. We're just kind of bullshitting right now, to be honest with you. It's Friday.
Yeah. I'll bring up a few conversations because the chat always, I think, appreciates when we can. I always find that movies is a great thing to bring in from time to time into streams because everybody has a favorite movie or likes a movie or or
I did not know about fatty liver disease, so interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
In fact, I had a friend whose dad was arrested for a DUI because they thought he was alcoholic, but really it was because he had the diabetes.
Interesting.
So his diabetes was so out of managed that it impaired his ability to drive, and he looked like he was. But yeah, the fatty liver disease is huge right now. It causes like a spleen, and so yeah.
Oh, interesting. Anson Knowles, how did you catch it? How did you catch it?
We're here. Well, there's different things that will alert you to it. One of them is if your spleen starts acting up. Usually also if you also get edema in the legs where it's swelling, but it's not related to like a blood clot.
Interesting.
And yeah, it causes pain. You can't really 100% reverse it, but you can minimize its effects, meaning if you exercise and you diet, those are the best things. So you want to avoid sugars in your body. Also, another thing that my doctor told me, because I'm kind of like on that or I'm on the path of getting fatty liver because of the diabetes that I have. And so
you have diabetes?
I have diabetes too because of the medication that I take.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I take so many steroids that that's why when people say, "Oh, you look fat," it's you got to go out and it's all health, hormone, everything with me. It always
Oh,
has been.
interesting.
Which is why I don't have a lot of facial. This is the most facial hair I've ever had in my life. So that was a kind of a wake up call a while back for me because I was having spleen issues and I thought maybe I was having like a heart attack. And the doctor's like, "Does it hurt right here?" And I'm like, "Yeah, right here, right underneath there." And she's like, "Yeah." So I had to go do a liver test and do all that stuff. And so, but so one of the things that they say is, you basically it makes you. That's the other thing too. You get nauseous when you eat. So I can only eat so much at a time. And if I eat more than I can, it will make me nauseous to eat. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah, there's that. And then also, and it's probably because it's affecting your spleen so bad. So the best stuff to do is to avoid your sugars and then to also exercise, which I go for a walk every day when I can. So,
Lindsay doesn't want to come up. Well, Lindsay, hang out. We'll probably dive back into the president's behavior today. We covered it like right out of the gate.
right.
It's just so funny.
Yeah.
I maybe should have waited until people started showing up, but
We can always go back to it, but
yeah, we can always. Go
I
back
was
to
just
it.
I was just like, Grant, how's it going? By the way,
Yeah, that's interesting.
But yeah,
it's an interesting thing. I do. I don't actually eat that much.
yeah,
It's a very interesting thing because I think people.
I think especially when you get older, I think with old age you tend to eat less. Like I always used to didn't understand why like people could eat so little, but it makes sense because if you think about it, with the older you get, the less your metabolism rate decreases, the less energy you're using, and so like obviously when you think about like guys and from like
I
the
just
age
never
of,
ate that much.
16,
My
like
wife
that's
thinks it's hilarious.
yeah.
I never ate that much, and and usually I think it's just years of doing it.
Yeah.
For a long time I would only eat like twice a day. I'd eat breakfast.
That's what I
Sometimes I get
usually do.
lunch, usually not, but I'd have a late lunch, early dinner, and then
Right. And the only time I have anything for breakfast is enough so I can take my medication in the morning because I can't take a medication. I have to take a couple of pills with food, and so yeah.
Yeah,
But
and when
I'm usually eating like a habit. I'm usually eating like an I try to eat like an apple every morning, and
really,
yeah, an apple a day is really good for you.
I don't like the sugar.
Yeah.
I used to eat apples all the time when I was younger, but I just I actually don't like really, really sweet things.
Oh, okay.
Except on occasion.
So to me, that's a great augmentation because I have a huge sweet tooth, and I had always had that as a kid,
Yeah.
So that takes care of the sweetness, but what it also has the fiber, which is good, which helps people with diabetes because fiber helps to absorb your insulin, and it helps to keep it so it doesn't skyrocket as well. So
Interesting.
yeah. So, but yeah, no, fatty liver though. Now, but now my doctor is saying fatty liver is becoming the #1 cause of cirrhosis nowadays, and not so much alcohol.
That's really interesting. I did not know that. And of course I'm not. So I don't. John, I barely go to the doctor, man.
I know you're like my friend that way. I'm going to the doctor all the time, so I understand it. Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually trying to remember the last time I've actually been to the doctor. For something like an illness or something. I think my wife made me go like last year because no. So the most memorable time I've went to the doctor recently is other than for like actual injury where I like tore a muscle or something. Right as COVID hit. I worked a ridiculous amount putting this match on the ground, and I worked like 3 days straight, and I got dehydrated, like really dehydrated, and I started drinking energy drinks and water and things like that to kind of get the salt and get everything back into the system, but it was too late.
Right.
And what ended up happening is that I didn't realize I was dehydrated, but I came home and I was like super tired. I had no energy, and I was like, I just want to shower. Like my head hurts.
Yeah,
you
headaches
know,
are a common thing. With
feel like I'm
dehydration.
getting, I'm starting to kind of sneeze a little bit. I'm like, I don't feel good.
A
And
lot of people don't realize that a lot of the things that make them feel bad is dehydration.
Yeah, it is.
And water and just water, like and people just of the one thing you need the most, people are the most deficit on is water, I mean it's
no, that's true. So I had I remember I felt like I had a fever. I had a mild fever. So I went and Mr. Yeah, absolutely. Mikey Balls, get Mr. the link, please. And the interesting thing about it is like I had a fever, I had like all these weird symptoms, and it felt I kid you not, I don't know if you've ever taken martial arts, but it literally felt like somebody had been just working my kidneys for an hour, like elbow day, like when you're doing doing the knee to the small of the back, and your kidneys get just kind of beat up, and it felt like I had been sparring all day and somebody had just been wearing my kidneys out, but I wasn't pissing blood, and I was like, this feels like I should be pissing blood. Right? Like I've been here before, and when it feels like this, I should be pissing blood, and I'm not pissing blood. What the fuck's going on? And so, but it was that I had gotten really, really dehydrated, like really bad, and I had a sore throat. I mean, like I had all of these weird symptoms that my wife was convinced I had COVID. Yeah. I've never had
the dehydration is a serious thing. I know of it because where I live, it's extremely dry.
Yes.
And it's high elevation.
Yeah. I used to live there. I lived in Denver for 10 years.
So it's a combination of some things that really affect that really absorb a lot of the moisture out of your body.
Yeah, absolutely. What's up, Mr.? How are you, sir?
How's it going? Can you hear me?
I can. We can hear you fine. Sound good.
Okay. Yeah, no, I just wanted to come up for a minute because I felt like there was a few points being missed, specifically with the federal firings thing that I've been looking into lately. It's interesting because it's like I have to make it known that these people that are being fired, they're a lot of them are compromised, and you're just seeing the reportings of how they're just like, it looks like in the mainstream media they're just blanketly firing them for like cuts, but it's not the case. Like they're setting up email traps, and we all know it's illegal to leak government information, especially when it's classified. But in the past, how many times have we seen that where the media gets hold of something they shouldn't have, right? So they're making it sound like, oh, they're trying to be dictators and everything like that, and it's just not the case. They're gutting these federal employees and everything like that because the mistakes they made. And I know I'm kind of going into these tangents, but a lot of it's related. The January 6th stuff, that investigation is not over. I'm sure some people in the chat understand what I mean by that.
Oh yeah, no, we all know, right? Like it's an ongoing investigation because they're looking at the Fed. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, they identified and have interviewed at least 23 federal agents that were on site that day and were probably provoking and antagonizing moving the attack along. And they've I think they've interviewed 23, I think it is, maybe more. You would probably know better than I at this point. And they've also been trying to track the email chains and all of this to see who was really behind the black suited people that that actually started the violence, right? And I know, yeah, I get where you're at. I get where you're at.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing, I like to come up when I can give some actionable information that maybe
Perfect.
people haven't heard yet. But one of the things I'm looking at, so, and I can't mention this on stream, but the medical issue that shall not be named, that time frame, right? There was mass protests before that, about a year, 6 months, in Chile and in Hong Kong, and we all remember that. And now we're seeing similar stuff. I hope Chris is still in the chat, but he might be able to answer this. But there's some stuff going on in the Congo with some new medical stuff that people should look into. There's new issues happening in China right now.
Yes.
And so I'm looking at, like, I forget what they call it, DHI, Tulsi Gabbard.
Mm-hmm.
She's the one that I'm going to be looking at, coming up over the next couple of months, because when they're getting all the bad out of the country, which seems to be happening, it's going to get pushed, and you're going to have this recourse trying to push its way back in by creating, bad things happening in other countries to try and gaslight us into doing things. I foresee that kind of thing happening again. So I'm looking at that.
Actually, I was about to ask you about that. What do you think about all of the nonsensical stuff that's being bandied about people in, the Congo is one, China's another, all of these supposedly mystery diseases. Do you think that they're attempting to orchestrate another COVID type event, or is that just red herrings thrown out to the press and by the press to keep people from focusing on the real things that are going on? Where are you at on that? What do you think?
Well, it's interesting because you really have to watch and kind of take everything in. Watch these oversight committee hearings. You got to know the what do they call that? When you have to give the exact time frame during the testimony, because you're watching. Mikey does this too, but you're watching a 3-hour-long testimony hearing, and then you get this one blockbuster piece of information, and you have to remember where it is.
Yeah.
And I take in so much that sometimes I forget where it is, and it takes me weeks to go back and find it. But I swear to you that I overheard this one where it was during the Fauci trials hearings with what's his name, the I forget who was heading that, but on the Republican side, I think it was Rand Paul.
I thought it was Jim Jordan.
Yeah, well, he specifically, I remember it was Rand Paul that asked him who signed off on the gain of function research from our government. And I want to speculate this because I want to do, I want to be certain about this, but I have to go back and check. But I could have sworn he said it was Obama's signature that was on that form. That was like, hey, we're doing this gain of function research.
Yeah.
Now you fast forward and you see that those emails between Strzok and Page, in which they were saying, Strzok says to Page, we have a contingency plan against Trump. And people assumed that contingency plan was Russia, right? And so we had the Russiagate thing. and we found out through Matt Taibbi with the Twitter files hearings that their Russian bot crap that they're still complaining about that turned Russia completely into this, you know, the most evil group in the world to these liberals was actually overblown. It was like a few people online, and it was way over exaggerated. What does this have to do with what's happening now? Because, again, I'm thinking the contingency plan was when Obama signed off on that gain of function research. It's just too linear to not be the case. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean absolutely. But why do you think Fauci's not in jail?
Well, Biden pardoned him. Realistically,
was his name on the list too? Was he one of the 20
Yep.
whatever? Okay.
He was, but before that, I think a lot of it
I go
is
back and look at because
he's got
apparently
coverage.
there's people on that list that they don't want to know about. And so
You're breaking up. He's in a truck driving across country, so you're muted, John.
I said, is he a truck driver?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a truck driver.
Yeah, I know what that's like.
So he'll pop back in. I'm really surprised that Fauci isn't in jail.
I'm not.
You're not?
I'm not. Given all the facts of all the things that he's had his hand involved in, whether it's
He knows where bodies are buried, literally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And not only that, but we know that the gain of function research was done as part of a joint military project that was both in connection with the Army base that's is it North Carolina? I don't remember which one it is. And it was in connection with one of the universities. And then that information the information from some of the studies got transferred over to Wuhan. So
yeah.
Sorry about that.
No, you're cool. You're cool. You're cool.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say one thing real quick about that, but
Yeah.
I'm trying to.
Oh man. Come in.
I don't want to go too hard too fast because,
we only got about half of that. We only got about half of that. You faded out. That's all right. Try again.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Yeah. So, regarding this, I'm bringing it back to this Russia thing. So,
yeah,
we promised, essentially through proxy, we promised no NATO expansion to Russia, right?
Yeah.
But you cannot find that on Google. If you try to go on Google right now and type in, did the U.S. promise no NATO expansion to Russia? It will not tell you that. And in fact, you'll see something come up that will say that this is a lie or, so it's important for, go ahead, sorry.
So that's an interesting I didn't know that they had removed that, but so the treaty that was signed was, and look, my timeline may be a little off here, but I think I'm pretty close to correct. And the problem was, or the problem is, and has been, that when you had the Ukraine and Russia, and we were doing the treaties, the treaty that we signed with the Ukraine did say that if they gave up their nukes and they de-weaponized, and those now that what they're trying to say, like you may have heard over in Rob's chat, was that those nukes went to Russia. And that's not true. The nukes were the nukes were dismantled, and whatever, they were demilitarized. Whatever that happened to them, they're no longer, they don't exist anymore in the former form as a missile or whatever. So yes, Ukraine did get rid of their nukes, but they didn't do it according to the treaty. And they fought that treaty tooth and nail by hook and crook. They're literally, I can't honestly believe, and I know a lot of Ukrainians, and I feel bad for saying this, but I'm going to point out, and I think accurately, that at that point in history, the Ukrainians were just a bunch of fucking gangsters. And they were literally trying to sell nukes to countries that were not friendly to us. Now, we stopped it for the most part, but that was a real thing. It wasn't just shit you saw in the movies. Like, that really fucking happened in real life, is that, the Ukrainian generals trying to make a couple quick few million, 40 or 50 million bucks selling a nuke on the open market. That really happened. And people know that. And unfortunately, the U.S., that broke the treaty. And no U.S. president has come out and said it out loud that I'm aware of, but I'm pretty sure behind closed doors, they've told the Ukrainian leaders ever since that, hey, we understand that you think this treaty's still in effect, but no, you did not hold up your end of the treaty. So we're not holding up ours. But like we always do, we're going to do it anyway. Even though they didn't hold up their end, we're holding up ours, more or less. But the problem is that those records exist. And if the U.S. enters a war with Ukraine against Russia, you can bet that all of that's going to come out, and it's going to make America look like a bunch of backstabbing fuckers. Like, all of the fuckery is going to come out. And that's why I think that we're just not going to see it. We're just not going to. And that's why Ukraine themselves are not saying that, hey, you need to honor this treaty to protect us. They're not going to say it. They're not. And they haven't. Well, I mean, they've had citizens say it, but you've never heard that. You don't hear that from the government. Because if they do, I mean, all that shit's documented, man. It's all documented. And
Can I just?
Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to address Anson Knowles real quick.
Yeah.
They fired someone over in I forget the name of the department because I've been looking. I've been on information overload lately, but one of the department heads, I think it was DHS. Their head got fired because they said that they weren't acting fast enough with the deportation. So to answer your comment.
Well, that's true.
Sorry,
They did do that. But yeah, it's an interesting thing with Ukraine, right? And the only reason Ukraine wants to join NATO is because they picked this fight with Russia, and they figured out that they're not going to win it alone, and they're not going to win it at all, to be honest. With us or without us, they're not going to win it. So, despite the early days where people were like, "Oh, look, Ukraine's whooping them Russians," yeah, no, that's not really what happened. So
maybe
yeah,
here's another thing. Here's another thing too. Maybe he knows exactly what he's doing. Maybe he came there on purpose to pick a fight because he's trying to get support in some other way, or he's trying to cause a complete end to it because he might be trying
you
to
feel like
save his
there's a
own.
plan, right? You feel like
Yeah.
this isn't off the cuff, like there's some plan. But then again, he could just be that stupid. He is an actor, but or a comedian. He's not even a comedian. I mean, he's not even an actor. He's a comedian. He's not, couldn't act, whatever. $5 comes in from Anson Knowles. Trump needs to line up 250,000 deportation candidates and walk them back home with a military escort. Dang, that's cold-blooded. That is cold-blooded right there. They'll stop coming if we do that. So you're talking full Trail of Tears, right, Anson Knowles? Talking full Trail of Tears here? I actually had a relative in the Trail of Tears on both sides, so I'm good with that. So my great grandmother was one of my great grandmothers was a full-blooded Cherokee. You're muted, John.
I said, you're telling me that your spirit animal was a rat then?
No, my I
Your
don't know what my
spirit
spirit
guide,
animal is.
because or whatever, because like that's the whole idea. Like there's spirit animals, and then there's also what they call spirit token, or what do they call them? They call them.
I don't know. What my spirit
Basically, it means if you're like okay with your people dying, you'll come back as a rat or something.
Yeah, the Trail of Tears did work. So my great grandmother was full-blooded Cherokee, and so some of her people walked the Trail of Tears, and then on the other side, on my grandfather's side, on his side, they were basically U.S. soldiers, so they probably guarded the people on the Trail of Tears. So, I got it. I got I'm equal opportunity hater. So, but the Trail of Tears did in fact work. That's true. So, Zach Diecast said that Zelensky is a trans actress. Is that a thing now? I'm not up on this. I haven't been to see a movie in like 2 years. So you guys gotta cut me some slack. So, and yes, again, Anson Knowles, the Trail of Tears did work. Some of my people took their land. Many thanks to your ancestors. Sure. You're welcome. Have you ever looked into your family history, John? I'm going to bore the fuck out of chat right now, but I don't give a shit. Have you ever looked into your family? You're muted still, John.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So in my history, I have some interesting characters. So I think on my grandmother's side of they were East Tennessee folk, and they actually owned slaves back pre-Civil War. After the Civil War, I think on my grandfather's side, one of his relatives rode with Frank James during the war, and then shortly for a while after the war, and he. I don't think that he went west with the James gang, but he definitely rode with him during the war and afterwards. And then the on another relative was a gambler in Memphis area, West Tennessee, riverboat gambler that was known to knife people.
Oh wow!
Right? Yeah, that was pretty cool. So it kind of, I got criminals, I've got slave, all of the things in my history, man. Like
these are just a few of my favorite things.
The one thing I don't really have a lot of in my family history are cops. I don't think any of my relatives have ever been cops. They've been in the army.
You're probably more related to the Shiners then, huh?
Yeah. In East Tennessee, some of them still do.
Yeah.
Some of them still do. Some of them still do. They actually, that's a real thing. Like I'm 90% sure on the Sharon side, however you fucking say that side of the family.
Yeah.
They're in East Tennessee. They're back in those hollers, man. It used to be a family joke that. And I still say this and I say a form of this in East Tennessee. Like nobody would follow those guys back into those hollows because you'd never come back out.
No, you'd get lost in those woods.
Yeah.
You
never. Well, no, you're just never coming out. Yeah. So today cops and outlaws are same. So it's kind of the same thing. But yeah, so.
I got half my family are all cops and detectives.
You sound like I got to be honest with you, Mister. You sound like an Irish beat cop.
Yeah, you've got that Irish.
I was in the military for 11 years and I worked for the Pentagon. And when I came out, I applied and my brothers were already in. And I go, oh, it just seems natural. But then when I went for the psych eval, I was like, hey, I got no problem. I I got no problem. I was just being honest. Apparently, that doesn't go over very well because I'm like, I got no bodies and just locking people up and blowing people away doing God's work. You know,
In
they
God's
were
work,
not
man.
happy with me.
Yeah.
They were like, you need to go back to government work.
You need to go be
Yeah.
a contractor killer again for the government.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, mostly criminals on my side of family, unfortunately, or in my background anyway. That's all right. Nothing wrong with it. But my grandfather was a medic, Army medic in World War II. Fought at the
that's
or he was at the Battle of the Bulge.
That's awesome.
All
Yeah.
of my grandfathers, including my step grandfather, were aviators of some kind in World War II. So one was a radio operator on a plane, one was a gunner on a plane, and the other one was a pilot. So,
What happened to you?
me?
Yeah, no flying.
No flying.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. I just never got into flying. My dad liked flying, but I think when my grandfather died from a plane accident in his plane, that probably took it out of my
That's
dad.
pretty cool, Anson Knowles. That's pretty cool. It says his first American ancestor was John W. Knowles, enlisted in 6 12-month tours in the Revolutionary Army, and he was the founder of White County, Tennessee.
Wow.
Should have, I guess Black History Month probably isn't real big. Then.
Yeah. What about Latino X County, Tennessee?
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Yeah.
But I do have relatives on both sides that fought on both sides of the war, and
It's pretty interesting.
I do have a famous actor that's like a third cousin on my mom's side.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Is Mosman English?
Mosman is an Anglicized version of the German. So
Okay.
yeah. So originally what had happened was they had originated out of, my family actually originated originally out of Scotland, and they moved down to England, and then they were in North England, like in Yorkshire, and they were part of the Highlanders that surrendered that surrendered to the English and got land in return for selling out William Wallace. And so but then also by that time, though, part of my family had migrated to Germany, and then so
Germany.
So I've got all of that. I've got the
You and Anson Knowles.
Scottish, English, and German, and and then a little bit of French Canadian on my mom's side.
My pedigree is terrible. I'm talking, I've got all of it. Mm-hmm. Two different Indian tribes, English, well, all of Great Britain, English, Scottish, Welsh, Irish. I don't know if I got any Irish in me, but definitely English and Scottish and some Welsh. And then maybe a little bit of German. I have to do that, the thing that I won't do, the ancestry thing. But yeah, my I got quite the.
You know who started Ancestry.com, don't you?
No.
The Mormons.
Oh, that's interesting.
So they could track people, because that's their way. Because one of the things they like to do is baptize people after they're dead. They claim them for their own church. So
interesting.
You may not know this, but you or a relative may be baptized in the Mormon church when you're dead. That's why they love history, and they are so adept at keeping track of family history. And
John W. Knowles escaped execution for crimes against the crown in Ireland to come to the U.S. and fight against them here. That's baller. I'm gonna be honest, Anson. That is
so. What you're telling me is that you're a skirvish little traitor than what you're telling me.
I'm just proud of him. I'm so proud. So proud.
Yeah. Well, mine were Hungarian and Scottish, and they were the ones that successfully warded off the Islamic Turkish invasion and the communists.
Oh yeah.
So
The
I could smell communists a mile away. They're like,
It's like like a sixth sense for you then, huh, Mister?
yeah, that's the
The
number one.
Hungarians and the Romanians, we have to thank for making sure the Ottoman Empire didn't spread as far as it did.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's an interesting thing for sure. It's an interesting
And then what
sure.
did we do? What did we do? So after how many years we basically left what Eastern Europeans to deal with the issue of the Ottomans, and then finally in the 20th century we decided to get involved in World War I and expand that from just the Austrian to the whole thing with the Arabs and the Turks. So
yeah. I got to
and
be honest.
you know what? We gave all that territory and that land, and we gave all that stuff over to those Arab tribes, and they still have hated us. That's like they've never.
So
like that's why I love the ending. You've seen like Lawrence of Arabia, right, Grid? That's like one of my top. You've seen like Lawrence of Arabia, right?
Yes, I also saw Wind in the Lion. Wind in the Lion is fucking awesome.
Wind in the Lion is good, yeah.
Wind and the
Lion. I love that part where the guy that Brian Keith plays Teddy Roosevelt, and he's like, "Why do we got a bald eagle? We should have a grizzly there."
Actually one of my favorite parts is when the kidnapped woman, I think she was a teacher, is talking to the Sultan guy.
Yeah, played by Connery.
Or the leader. I don't think he was a Sultan, but he's the leader.
Yeah.
And she's trying to talk him into not having aggression towards the American and Europeans in the region. Just kind of calm down, back off a little bit. And he's like, why? None of the leaders, your leaders suck. They're weak. And I think maybe she shot a rifle or something, and he's like, "Oh, if your women shoot, what do you?" Something about the men and or who's your king or something like that. So Teddy Roosevelt, he's president. This is in a derisive comment. The guy says, I bet he uses a machine gun or an automatic, something like that. And he's like, and the woman's like, he uses a Winchester. And the guy's like, what the fuck's a Winchester? He doesn't know what that is. It's great. It's a great segment in the movie. It's really funny.
A great movie in general. I mean, it's a highly recommend. I mean, to have Sean Connery and Candice Bergman and or not Candice Bergman, whatever her name was, that was in Murphy's Law or whatever.
Yeah,
not Murphy's Law, but I'm trying to remember the name of that show. But yeah, but that was a good movie. But no, that ending of, you've seen the ending of Lawrence of Arabia, right?
Yes.
And where they all banded together to stop the Ottomans, but then they all fight each other. And Peter O'Toole, who's playing Laurence Olivier, they're playing Lawrence, is just like, he puts his hands up and says, "You're never going to get it," And that's how the Middle East is to this day. They're still fighting over territories and
I forget who said it, but I think many people have said the same thing, and that is, these people have been fighting each other for 1,000 years.
Yeah.
And they're not going to stop.
Right.
They're just not. They want to. It's what they do.
Yeah.
We play golf.
Yeah.
They do the other thing.
They shoot people for using their water well.
Shoot people for using the wrong verbiage.
And not just that, but also water well. Like at the beginning of the movie, remember? when the guy shoots the guy for drawing water out of the well.
Yes, stealing water, bad.
By the way, a few years ago before COVID hit, I got to see they had the Lawrence of Arabia. It was the
Isn't it Ramadan right now? Should we be talking about this?
I don't give a shit.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure.
Unless you do, but I don't care.
I want to make
But
sure.
I got to see Lawrence of Arabia on the big screen, and that was cool because obviously the movie came out in the '60s, and so I never got to see it when it came out in theater. So when they did the couple of years ago, they did they brought it back to theaters, and that opening scene where the sun comes above the dune, and then you see him on the camel and all that. That is so amazing to see in theaters. It's just so amazing to see on a 35 millimeter projector. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Lawrence of Arabia is like one of my top 3 favorite movies of all time. So,
yeah. So I never really think of myself as anything but an American, right? But it's interesting to look into the past and see who your relatives are. I don't really care where they came from.
Yeah.
But the Trail of Tears thing made me think about made me think about the Indian people.
Can I ask you a question, Grid?
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
What do you think about the situation when it comes to Iran?
Ooh.
Because they ask about it every week, these stupid media idiots, and I see us, going from one problem right into another, and I'm thinking this is a trap,
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's just the Syria thing, the Gaza stuff. I'm really hoping, because I think that's the only way that everything falls apart. If he gets baited into another like proxy issue when it comes to Iran.
Dude, is Zelensky on Fox News now? Oh no, wait. No, that was earlier today. I was like, is he back on Fox News whining again? No, it was all right, never mind. Sorry, I had something come across my screen. I couldn't see the time. It was like 5:00 today. I already saw that one where he's like coping and shit on Fox News. Sorry. I got distracted. Hit me again with that. With the Iran thing. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. I think that was the clip where they asked Zelensky if he believes that he owes an apology to Trump.
Yes.
And he just is like not wanting to answer it.
Yeah. That just rolled across my screen.
Man.
And I'm like,
that's so good. I love it. Oh, I love seeing that, especially after $550 billion in our I mean, I don't have to get into that, but
it's crazy.
Man.
It's crazy, right? It's just nuts. So what?
But the Iran thing.
What?
The Iran stuff. It I could see it coming, down the road. Like I've been talking about this for months now.
So I mean, I got to be honest. I know that I've said this before. I'll say it again. I'm an isolationist, man. I think we need to leave Iran the fuck alone. I think obviously we don't want them to have nukes and blah 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 and all that. We have people that can prevent that. We can prevent that various ways. Constantly fighting and backing people against them and manipulating world process. I don't know, man. It's becoming quite the L, to be honest. I don't know of any other way to put it other than it's just a big L. And
yeah.
I don't know how. I mean, I don't know. The dude, it's crazy. Like I can't. Like
well,
Iran. I keep trying to think of Iran as a. So the first thing is I think if we left Iran alone and quit fucking with them, they probably would get rid of their leadership because the people there are actually good people. They want
Right.
good government. They
Well, and there's
want.
a civil war been going in there ever since the Ayatollah took over, right? Like, I mean, it's
Well,
always
there's been a yeah. I mean, they've had a they've always got a war going on. But yes, you're right. There's there's been a civil war. There's been unrest. There's been unrest for decades, but for some stupid ass reason, our bureaucrats.
I know. I can tell you what it is. You don't want to hear it.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Starts with an I and ends with an L.
Starts with an I.
So starts with an I and ends with an L. That's all I'm going to say.
I and ends with an L. Wow.
Yeah.
Small hats.
It's a real.
Oh, you got Israel.
Yeah.
I mean,
as long as they dominate our foreign policy, we'll always be involved in the wars in the Middle East, because the biggest people who have the biggest axe to grind with Iran will always be Israel. Always is. As long as the ultra conservative wing of the Zionist party is in control of the country.
But I don't think they're in control of the country. I think if anything, the Catholics are in control of this country. Most of our politicians are Catholic.
Of what country are you talking about?
Of the U.S.
No, but I'm talking about. But you have to understand, our foreign policy is geared towards it. And not only that, I can tell you this. I know people who have worked in the CIA, and there are people who will literally ask you questions about how you feel about that. There's a reason why, for the longest time, our country punished companies and people who were employees of both state governments, organizations, federal government organizations, or companies about exercising their free speech, which was part of, like, I think what is kind of ironic about JD talking about that, because I feel like JD Vance is totally in support of limiting Americans' free speech when it comes to the issue on Israel, but not on the issue of Russia. But that is always going to be the case. And as long as they are a huge component of our foreign policies, they're going to always have.
I have a hard time resolving.
Control.
I hear this all the time. I have a hard time resolving this because most of our politicians.
Okay. It has nothing to do with our politicians. Our politicians,
Roman Catholics, they're Roman Catholics.
It has nothing to do with our politicians. It has everything to do with the money that is in their hands. Don't look at the politician or their personal values. Look at who's funding them. And when you realize that Israel is backing both sides of the party, when you realize that
Israel doesn't have enough money to back both sides.
Yes, they do, through lobbyists. Yes, they do. And there are lobbyists that are not technically associated with that country that have a political advocacy for that country. But not only this, but here's the thing. As long as I believe you can find, there is always going to be a connection between the war economy and central banking.
Well, I got it. I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt. I just have a unique perspective on this, and why this is such a big threat, even worse than what John's saying, because the communist left, okay, they're the ones behind the pro-Palestine protests in the high schools, in the colleges. They're the ones that were hanging out with the BLM people, and we have the evidence to support these claims. And so I would not put it past these bad actors to go in and foment a proxy with Iran strictly to get power back in the United States. And what it does if that happens is it tells the American people, hey, we told you so when it comes to Trump. If he goes in and takes a debate and goes to war with Iran, it'll allow all the worst parts of the left to be like, hey, we warned you guys about this. And it's interesting because I'm looking at the the backdoor hidden examples of this, you have to look very closely to see it. There was a news article recently that was talking about how they found out that Iran had 6 nukes. 6 nukes. And they're like, oh, an unnamed source told us. What does that mean? An unnamed source? You know what I'm saying? It could have been a bum off the street who could have been, they have 6 nukes. You know, like it's just bad. I could see it coming, you know. And
Well,
the thing with what's one thing real quick.
Yeah.
The thing with Syria, right? We got 2,000 troops in Syria right now, American bodies. The leader of Hezbollah said the trade route runs through Syria. Other side of Syria to get the all the you know, whatever Hezbollah needs, the trade route runs through Syria. It's only a matter of time before something kicks off in that region, like after the Gaza stuff.
Yeah. So and again, so my entire thing is we just need to get out of it. Right. The entire region needs to. We need to be out of it. There's no reason for us to be there.
The reason why we're there, though, historically has been one because it started ever since really when we got involved in World War I, but also it goes back to looking at us being allowed to basically be manipulated by certain countries. And I think, you know, my hope this time around, though, is that Trump's surrounded by better people, because one of the things that I really didn't like about Trump's last term was that he let Pompeo talk him into killing Soleiman, which was a terrible mistake, because I think Soleiman said he had evidence of not just the United States, but particularly the Democrats and particularly the Hillary Clinton State Department supporting ISIS in Libya. And that's why he was hunting down ISIS. And what he was killed is, he wasn't killed in Iran, he was killed in Iraq hunting ISIS. And if Iranians were such a huge supporter of all of these terrorism cells like we're told they are, I think they're more like North Korea, where they're like, yes, we'd like to talk and claim it, but that's not really them, because
I don't buy that about Suleiman. Suleiman was a bad guy, man. Like he was not a good guy.
I'm not saying he was a good guy. What I'm saying was, why was he hunting ISIS in Iraq?
Well, he was. Well, hold on. So I don't think that's accurate. I think
that is accurate. That is accurate.
He was hunting the people that helped us.
No. He was hunting ISIS
because he was. I'll look into it. I don't remember that. I recommend
you look into it. Yeah,
he's a bad guy, and I don't care if he's hunting ISIS in Iran. Killing just because you're the enemy of my enemy doesn't make you my friend.
I'm not saying that makes him a friend, Grid. What I'm saying is, he was claiming before he was assassinated that what's that? I understand that, but you have to understand how the deep state is not just it's not just a neoliberal problem. It's both a neoliberal and a neocon problem, right?
Yeah. So let me kind of. I'm going to go back to something.
As long as, and so I'm not saying that he was not a war criminal. I'm saying if we were told go kill him because he's a bad guy,
we weren't told to go kill him. We went and killed him because he was on our list to go kill him.
But why was he on our list?
Because he killed Americans.
Because. He'd always had killed Americans, but especially
yes, and that's why he died.
No. He died within a specific time of him announcing that he had information that supported an allegation that the United States was behind ISIS.
We were behind ISIS.
I know.
That's not an allegation.
I know.
Hold on. But not in the way that you think. We funded people And then when we withdrew the funding, they became radicalized and
Well,
became
yes,
ISIS.
and we gave
That
them
is
weapons.
absolutely true. That's 100% true.
And
That's history. You can't
we
get away
gave
from it.
ISIS weapons in Libya to help us take Gaddafi out.
Right.
And they turned
Way
around
back
on-
in the day,
And
way back in the day.
They turned around on it. They turned around on
Yeah.
us. They attacked our quote unquote U.S. Embassy. Which
Yes,
was
they
really nothing
betrayed
more
us.
than a-
Yes,
than a-
100%. But they weren't
than
called
a-
ISIS then. We didn't create ISIS
I know. What I'm saying
directly, but
what I'm saying is that ISIS came out of that group of people
yeah, absolutely.
in Libya.
We don't need information about that. We knew that. We absolutely know.
But it's one thing to have certain amount of information on it. There's another thing that which Suleiman was talking about, which was he was claiming to have evidence that directly linked Hillary Clinton and the State Department to actual money that was given. And that was part of the reason why he was in Iraq hunting ISIS. Now, if Iran is such a supporter of terrorism, like we're told they are, why would they go into Iraq to hunt terrorists? One, because we know that ISIS was going and doing terrorist attacks in Iran, for one thing, but also because he was interested in getting this information. And they said, hey, he's a target. He's going into Iraq. We'll have an open shot. Let's take him out. And Trump listened to the people and they said, yeah. And so instead of realizing that part of the reason why he was being targeted is because people both on the neocon and the neoliberal side wanted him dead.
So the reason that we targeted Suleiman is because of Benghazi.
Right.
Yes, because he attacked our people at Benghazi and he killed the ambassador. He had to die because of that.
Right. So what I'm saying, though, is that this is what I'm trying to say, is that he was responsible for it. I believe he had a hand in it for sure.
No, he was there. He was 100% a part of it. We know.
I know. But what I'm saying is that what I'm saying was something had to change with him, because see, people don't realize
nothing
this.
changed.
No. There was some
this is where all the conspiracy theories.
No, this isn't about conspiracy theories, because we can go back and look at the Clinton Foundation payments in Iran. We can go back and look that during Bush's tenure, Al Gore was selling weapons to Iran behind our back. Why was he doing that? They were doing that so he could give it to Iran so that Iran could invade Syria. That was part of their hope, at least. But
right. It's always been that way in that region. We keep and again, this is why we need to get the fuck out.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. Absolutely.
100. I mean, and I don't buy into the whole Zionist bullshit. I don't buy into the almighty Israel controlling the world. I'm not literally don't buy into any of that.
I just say they have a very powerful lobby, and they have a
that means jack shit. We went after Suleiman because we found out where he was. We knew where he was, and
I'm not saying that.
Literally,
that's not the connection.
Literally, Trump went after him because for whatever, and because of the very reasons you named, Obama would never go after him.
Well, because Obama put him in power.
Right, exactly. That's why we went. That's why when Trump came in, he said, "Guy's got to die."
Right, and when Trump came in, they said this is a good target for you to look at taking out of. Suleiman looked at that and said, "Wait a minute. This is why I didn't like what Trump did, because Trump, the businessman, would say, look, maybe we can try to make a deal with him to get some information, because if we could actually have gotten some,
we already had all the information that he had.
But not that was disseminated to the American public. We still have American public who think that the Libya attack was because of a fucking video somewhere about Muhammad, right? There is still that misinformation. No, there are people that still out there to believe that.
Well, there are people that believe that the fucking snowman exists. I mean,
but my point of what I'm trying to say is that Suleiman realized that the Clintons and / Obama and the Democrats were basically
Democrats.
where they were backstabbing him,
Democrats.
which is one of the reasons why they attacked, and that's why he was also trying to go after ISIS, because guys that came out of his group were.
Well, that's an interesting. So there's a whole thing about like it's hard to understand that region of the country because literally the very people that you trust today will kill you tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. And we've started that long before.
No, we didn't start that.
Oh yeah,
we didn't start that. That's been that way forever.
No, they've been that way forever.
And you were wrong. You were a little bit. Your history's a little bit off. So the entire reason that world is the reason that they will give you for this organization and disorder in the Middle East and North Africa is because we sent Oliver Perry over there and he destroyed the caliphate.
That's not historically true.
It is true.
No. That's not. We're not saying that that's the reason why.
But that is the reason that they will tell you.
No,
because when they destroyed the caliphate, that shattered their nation, their kingdom.
Yeah.
And now they're all a bunch of warring, which they were already a bunch of.
They were already warring tribes before that.
Right, but I'm telling you what their reasoning is. Right. And it has nothing to do with it has less to do with anything else than they did have some semblance of peace under the caliphate, right?
They did, yeah, because the caliphate would at least try to keep some type of measured order.
Well, he would kill it. Yeah, he would. Yeah. He had a very powerful army.
Right. And this is what we saw happened in real time in Iraq right after we took Saddam Hussein out. Is we saw how the factions, the Sunni and the Shiites went after each other. But my point of what I'm trying to say that was
going to happen anyway. But
I know that's what I'm saying. But those power vacuums cause that is what I'm trying to say.
Sure.
But what I'm trying to say though is that a big reason why we get involved in this goes back before even what I'm saying with Suleiman or all that. I'm saying like our involvement with terrorist groups of today that are freedom fighters today, but terrorists tomorrow started all the way back when we were trying to get the Soviets out of Afghanistan. So, I mean, that's been where we've armed one group and then we had to fight them, a year later or something. So,
did you ever watch the movie Charlie Wilson's War?
I have. Yeah. It's a good movie.
It's pretty accurate.
I think it is. Yeah.
And this is the reason why we got to get out of there, because we keep backing factions based on what we think that they will do or who we think they are, and they're not anyone that. And the thing is that again, their allegiance they don't. The fact that they make a deal with you or me or Mr. is irrelevant, because to them breaking that deal means nothing.
Right. And you see,
not even lying.
You see this throughout history with groups that are very tribalistic, right? Like we saw the same during the French Indian Wars. We saw this, like the same Native American tribes that would support Britain would then turn their back, and so part of this problem, and this is part of the problem that we have when we fight proxy wars, is what we're trying to do is get something we want out of the situation and hope that we keep our hands clean and don't do the dirty work. But the problem is, when you rely on somebody else to do the job, a lot of times they're going to muck it up.
Yeah.
Well,
and especially in Afghanistan, where it's hard to have any kind of institutional military deployment at, because it's such a rugged country too, especially.
I mean, again, I think that I find it interesting that people try and like pigeonhole any of this, because it's so crazy. It's just so nuts all the time.
Right.
And
I'm going off the facts. In particular, the interesting one is that he will not answer. This is the one question when the media asks, he's like, I'm not answering stupid questions.
Who's this?
When they say to Trump, it's the one question. They're like, oh, what do you think about Iran having nuclear weapons? He said to them, if I have a plan, I'm not telling you. And he's like, don't ask stupid questions. And I
That
agree with
actually
him
seems like a
100%.
pretty based answer. Like, I'm
Right,
not fucking
right.
telling you that. Why would I
Of
answer
course.
that fucking question? That's dumb. Why would I do that? That actually, I ain't gonna lie. That's pretty dope. That's pretty dope.
But what's your thought on that, Mister Mister?
Oh, I think I don't see to me that tells me he doesn't have the information that he wants. That's what that says to me.
I got you.
Yeah,
Or
I'm
he's
hoping I
waiting for
can.
something to happen.
Yeah, something's going on with that definitely, but he doesn't want to hear it from him because I think his son and like the rest of us understand the underlying pinnings of what it is. I
Yeah.
mean, there's obvious issues going on there, but
Yeah, sure.
I think he knows. Just like I was saying, if he goes in, that's like a no coming back type of crossing the line. You know?
Especially with his base, right? Like the whole idea behind Trump is that we're not going to have any more wars. We're going to get rid of these wars and the never ending wars. And I think that I think he's actually even taking some criticism right now because we do have troops in Syria, and I think that's fair criticism too. By the way, so I've I don't know, man. I think it's an interesting I think it's an interesting thing. So
But before I drop down, I just want to get your thoughts on one thing real quick
yeah, man,
because
absolutely.
we're about to enter into this. The midterms are coming up, and I'm working on a project and everything like that. But I wanted
Sure.
to get your thoughts on this because there's going to be this like social media little battle that's going to happen within the next 6 months, and I'm noticing a lot of these like not that like to John's point that I don't disprove the fact that there are neo libs, but in particular that portion of the left. Some of these channels I'm looking at, I'm going, Brit, there's no effing way these people have like 80,000 viewers in their chat. Like something's definitely going on with this shit. I'm telling you, I've been looking at it and I'm like, I, someone is doing something with these people. I don't know, you know. And I look at our side and I go, you know, we have no group. The small hats have their people, and like we look at them and they have their own little like networks and everything like that. But
Sure.
but with us, everyone wants to go it alone. And one thing I've noticed, I just wanted to point this out, when that happens, they pick them off one by one. You saw this with like Alex Jones, uh, the whole even Tim. Well, he's trying to do all that shit alone. He lost half of his group, and he got nearly knocked out. There's so many people that got either canceled or just the crap kicked out of them because they tried to, go into this little. It's like you got to be careful when you're taking these stances and you're on social media. But anyway, that kid Parker, I looked at his and I'm how the hell does this kid have like 2,500 people in his chat? How?
Right. And
Like
it's because they're artificial bots or they're
Well,
like paid.
the packs are going pretty
Yeah.
hardcore
And
too.
you can tell, like, when you see these people come out of nowhere like that, here, like Harry Sisson type of person, you know that these people are plants, right? I mean, that they are just paid disinfo. And again, to appear to be like, and then when they go in front of a conservative that knows what they're talking about, they get their ass handed to them, But hey, I'm gonna sign off here. But
Yeah,
thanks for having me
actually,
on, dude.
I'm not too far out from that either. I'm actually really
But thanks for having me on, Grid.
yeah. Hey, man, great to have you on, and a good spirited discussion there.
Oh yeah.
You stood your ground. I normally, it's one of those things though where I get I kind of get a little into because
That's okay. That's fine. Yeah.
a lot of people just don't seem to really. Yeah, a lot of people.
There's a lot of nuance, and a lot of people want to just describe one thing or
Well, they want to
another.
prescribe what they know. Like
Right.
It's like if you and I had an argument, we have this one way of looking at it. Oh, he's gone. That's okay. All right. So what anyway, so what's new? What's new? What do you got? Mr. Mister.
Yeah, like I said, I'm watching, trying to get trying to get a feel of the landscape, because um, what's
Yeah, I got to be honest, man. I've been watching this for a while now, and man, I don't know. I just don't know.
I think that as far as the midterms go, I think we need to do something before the midterms, because if we lose the House,
Well, I think
before we
the midterms are. I mean, right now, dude. The only thing, see, I'm far more concerned with what's going to happen in the midterms on the Democrat side. I really think that we're going to just, I mean, not necessarily. Um, I don't think we're going to destroy, right? I don't think we're going to be far off of that. I mean, it's going to. I think it's going to be brutal. I think it's really going to be brutal.
oh yeah, it's already happening. You hear about the Dem in Florida that wants a recount?
No.
Oh God.
Who is this?
I can't remember the name. I'll get it for you and I'll post it in Discord. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Throw it
apparently
in Discord. I'll read it.
they're already looking at what happened in the House, trying to find some backdoor way of sliming their way into another seat. And people, as you're aware, last time we should have like 3 extra seats in the House,
Yeah.
but because we had 2 that decided, hey, I'm gonna retire because we didn't vote for Ukraine funding, and we got Mitch the Glitch McConnell retiring
Yep.
soon. So we're gonna have to do something and figure out a plan or whatever. Because if my biggest worry, aside from the Iran thing, is if they get into power and we don't get something like the Save Act passed, because the fix
Yeah.
why,
Yeah. No, look, dude, I'm into it. I'm just what's the word I'm looking for here? Uh so I don't see him being able to cheat again. See, here's the thing is that the way they were able to cheat the one time was like one off, right? Like there's just no um there's no like the only way they could do it is if they could shut the country down again, and then they wouldn't do that. I mean, I just don't think they could
well,
do it.
well let's think about this, Grid. He barely won PA. Okay, barely.
Yes.
Georgia waited till 3 hours after they even admitted there was no possible way he could have lost to certify to the Associated Press.
Yeah.
Right? Arizona waited three to 6 weeks after to finish their shit.
Yeah. Well,
And then there was two House campaigns that didn't finish till a month and a half after the election in California. So
that's
I'm looking at
true.
that. It's like, man, I'm just look. All I'm saying is, of all the things they could do to safeguard us from having another,
Well, we need to Save Act passed, right? We do
Yeah.
need that, and I'm
Yeah.
actually really shocked that. But remember, the Save Act really only covers federal elections. So state elections, each state would have to pass their own. And I got to be honest with you, man. I don't see you getting it passed in California. I don't see you getting it passed in in New York. I just don't see it. I want to, but now
Yeah.
for the presidential election, federal election, absolutely. I think that Trump could probably even write that in as an EO, as an interpretation of the voting laws, and it would probably stick. But federally, I mean, statewide, man, I mean,
They
I
got
don't
to do
know.
something because they could
I don't
just
know what they can do.
if they come back into power, because this is the thing, they broke the law by essentially implanting sanctuary cities because they break federal law 1158 asylum, right? Yeah, they're in
Yeah,
direct violation.
okay, but we're not going to win those anyway. See, this is the problem. This problem I have, right? I don't worry about losing California because we're never going to fucking win California. Okay. Well, I don't worry about losing New York City because we're never going to win New York City anyway. Just because the gerrymandering, the liberal bias there, it's just it'll be 20 years before we can take that back. I'm way more and I'm not even worried about, like, I'm just not worried about it. I can't be. The reality is that the ridiculousness the Democrats are showing, like not voting for these. Honestly, they're the ones doing themselves in right now, not voting to pardon me, not voting on a bill that would reduce taxes on working Americans and people who get Social Security. That's literally the people. That's all I would campaign on. I could campaign on that and win. I could simply campaign that, by golly, my opponent, whose party has for decades said that the right wants to take your Social Security, they want to take your money, they want to tax you and tax you and tax you. My opponent voted to not reduce your tax burden, to continue to make you pay tax on tips, to make you pay tax on Social Security. Why, if he supports these programs, why is he taxing you? And I mean, that's all they've got to do, man. The Democrats are shooting themselves in the foot. And what's weird is they don't seem to realize that's what they're doing. They really don't seem to realize that what they're really doing is basically destroying any chance they have at a midterm victory. Like, they just is.
Well, their strength is in their gaslighting and in their ability to brainwash people, right?
Yes, and that didn't work. That didn't work this time, and it's not going to work in midterms. They're going to what they're going to have to do between now and midterms is they're going to have what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to somehow push a rhetoric with proof that they want to help the American people. Because right now, every American out there is looking at the price of eggs, the price of gasoline, the price of real estate. All these people are out there that K2, keep on trucking. Yeah, Sean O'Brien was right. They left the workers. Yeah, absolutely. The average person that puts gas in their car, that buys groceries every week, is looking at it, and they know that it's a result of the Dems. They know that it's the result. And now they're seeing, and Trump is smart. He put this right after the election, without pause. He puts these bills in place, and they vote on them. And the Dems vote against it, and the Republicans all voted for it, and it passed. And now the Democrats look like a bunch of fucking idiots, because now that when people are going to, you know what Trump did that was the smartest thing he could have done? When he reduced those taxes, when that takes effect in the next 2 or 3 months, whenever it takes effect, every American's going to see more money in their check.
Yeah.
And that's the smartest thing. I'm telling you right now, the Democrats have such an uphill battle, and they, and they tried to cheat. They've been trying to cheat, but they're getting caught. They're getting caught left and right. Right? Like
I,
they try, and they're not gonna, because they're more ballot watchers, they're more poll watchers, there's more, they can't fix the machines anymore. They can't, the mail-in votes are getting, people are not, not even they're not even buying that. Now, obviously, again, look, Washington State, come on. We're not going to get Washington State back anytime soon. It's too corrupt. Oregon, probably not getting
right.
Oregon.
Yeah.
Too
Yep.
corrupt.
Yeah.
All right. California.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
But I don't care about any of those states. I need Kansas to stay Kansas. I need Chicago. I need Illinois to continue to vote red, and so that the only blue zone is Chicago. That's what we need. We got to have that.
Yeah. Well,
we got to have that.
One of the mistakes that we made, we ran a bad candidate in what do you call it, Kentucky, and now the Democrats have a blue governor in Kentucky, and unfortunately, we did not win North Carolina the governorship. So it's just strange.
I agree,
it's just strange to me.
I agree, but the the Democrat governor of Kentucky is literally more conservative than a lot of rhinos right now. Right? Like, he's not attacking gun rights, he's not raising taxes. Now obviously he's in Kentucky, so it's a very conservative state, and anything he's kind of hamstring. I agree with you on North Carolina. North Carolina is kind of in trouble. North Carolina needs to get their shit together. I do agree with you on that, but we do have to run good candidates, right? So if you're anywhere if you're voting, if you yourself are able to have influence at all, or just go down to your local Republican office and say, hey, we got to have good candidates this time, guys. Who do you have in mind? Because, I mean, guys, we came really close last time to losing it. We can't do that. So, K2, I don't know what you're sorry about, man. It's great. They didn't. You were right too. The $2 that you sent in was correct. They did leave the workers 100%. So, again, I have a hard time being in any way like disenchanted or whatever, because I see nothing but fucking W's, man. I got to be honest with you. I see the Democrats. The Democrats, if they don't get their shit together and start putting out palatable candidates that people actually want to watch, and that actually, people actually want to, or not watch, but people actually want to vote for, they're just going to shoot themselves in the foot. And they keep putting forth these, and look at how fast DEI has died. Look at how fast all the trans talk has died.
Yeah, well, maybe it's just the OPSEC in me or whatever, but I
No,
see
I got you, man.
these avenues, these avenues of vulnerability, and it
Yeah.
would just be really nice if the one thing in these 4 years that we can get past to change the landscape of how the country is run is just some stopgap regarding the immigration, where they cannot use it as a cudgel against the American people. That's all I'm saying. Some piece of new legislation.
Yeah. So that's the thing is, the thing is that these guys, the Democrats are just not. They're not holding up. They're just not holding up. They smoking spaceman's rights. Who do they have? They don't have anybody. They've been exposed. So the Dems are. It's tough for Dems. It's tough. And again, the problem is, even if we got this, which I believe we do need, we need the SAVE Act to prevent a presidential election from going wrong. Absolutely need that. The problem is that that's only federal, and the federal government cannot require states to have provide ID or whatever. That's the reason the SAVE Act is written the way it is. So I personally believe that there are some states that are never going to pass it, and so those states I just don't care about anymore. So,
yeah, no, I hear you. But like I said, I had this argument with so many people in different channels, but and my
well, I hope that
problem
I'm
isn't
giving you a
even-
better argument.
No, your stance obviously is good, but for their side, one thing I tell them is let's just grant your position, right?
Sure.
You get to have what you want in your state because we're for states' rights. We don't want to be hypocrites. However, what's to stop you from importing millions of people and then you just not letting them cross the border into a state that doesn't agree? That's my problem with it. You know what I'm saying?
Hold on, I'm sorry. What now?
I said, what's to stop? Okay, so sanctuary cities, right? They import all these people, and
California.
my argument is, what's to stop them from just allowing these illegals to cross over into another state that doesn't agree? There's no stop.
Here's the problem with that. Here's the problem with that. The states that you're talking about have voter ID laws. The only states that they won, that the Democrats won, the only states that went blue are the states that do not have voter ID laws. Every other state that has voter ID laws went red in the last presidential election. So what that tells me is those states are lost forever because they're not going to impose voter ID laws. We're not lost forever, but the lost for foreseeable future. But that also means that, it doesn't matter if they actually did truck 200,000 freaking illegals into Kansas. And you know what? Kansas went red because they can't vote. They can't vote.
Yeah. Well, another thing too, take the voting
Mikey
out
Ball's
of it.
correct, though. I agree with you, Mikey Balls. Good job. Solid.
Yeah, like, take the voting out of it, right? It's still not right. It's still not right.
I agree with you. And I agree with Trump's policy of, all of the sanctuary. There are no more sanctuary cities. There aren't any. Trump said that's not a thing.
Yeah. They stopped the funding to them, of course.
Right.
But
yeah, and you know what? And they're deporting
Yeah.
people out of New York City. They're deporting people out of San Francisco. Their ICE is raiding left and right. So while I agree with what you're saying, kind of, the safeguards that are in place are working. We just have to ensure that those stay there. And the way we ensure that is by maintaining the SAVE Act would be great. And I 100% believe, and especially to protect the presidency, because we did see that in an engineered circumstance that they can steal an election for sure. I'm not supposed to say that out loud, but I did. So, but I mean, look, it's just is what it is. I would love to say that that's not, but it is. California, smoking spaceman is correct. So California has been gerrymandered to the point where it's very hard to get a Republican elected. However, the worst thing is that they don't run bipartisan primaries. It's a single primary. So it's almost impossible for a Republican to even get primaried. So you have Democrat A, Democrat B. That's your choice. and they rigged it that way. So California is until they literally like until we forcibly take California back, they're just going to stay the way they are. So it is what it is. So yeah.
Yeah, this is, I like what I'm seeing. Like I said,
Yeah. No, I get it, man. And I have similar questions, right? Like I'm like, what's up with Chicago, right? Like, what's up with Chicago? And Chicago should be recovering, but it's not. Detroit's recovering. Detroit is becoming less of a shitty area. They don't have jobs moving back in yet, but a lot of the drug use, a lot of the a lot of the gang activity, that's all, it's all kind of, I mean, not all, but it's moving in the right direction. Why is it Chicago?
now look what happened to Colorado. It was the only state that went even more blue than it already was. And what happens? It becomes a shithole.
Yeah.
But
It is a shithole.
It's interesting.
It's a shithole.
It's just interesting because you point this stuff out to these Democrats, and it's like basic logic, and they don't want to listen to it.
Yeah. Guys, I'm going to quit half an hour early tonight. I'm tired. I got to get up early in the morning. This has been a great conversation with Mr. Mosman and Mr. I'll be back tomorrow night. It'll be our shit talking Saturday. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Also, I'm getting a head cold. You may have noticed. Pardon me. And so I'm gonna go. I'm gonna take some cold meds and go to bed. That's what I'm gonna do. You guys go have fun. I'm not gonna redirect you anywhere. There's too many cool shows out there to pick from. If it were me, I would try maybe go to Verbal Combat or. I don't know if Hypnotic's still on. Hypnotic had a great show tonight. Wrestler is out. You know what? We'll raid Wrestler. Just to be cool about it. I've raided Verbal Combat before. We'll raid Wrestler. And you guys can, it'll be, it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be cool. Unfortunately, tonight, it wasn't the show that I really wanted to do, but I feel like crap. So I'm happy that we even had a show. So
Yeah, well, it's always a good time hanging out with you guys. I mean, it's like taking a breath of fresh air.
I try. I've been, I did work. I did. I just, I had a lot of stuff to get done today, and I probably pushed a little. I know I pushed a little hard because the small of my back is hurting a little bit, but it's not like I need to go to the hospital or anything. I'm just, just being me. All right, so. You guys have a great rest of your night. I'm going to send you over to Wrestler. He's cool. He's pretty funny. I am quitting early tonight. You guys have a great time. Enjoy the show, and I'll see you guys later.